Hitman 3 is a fantastic game, but the NPCs are kinda stupid, which is great for the average player since it makes the game super fun to play around with. But I'm not here for fun. I'm here for pain, which is why today I'm modding Hitman 3 to make every single NPC a super genius who can hear me from half a map away the second I do anything illegal. And you can call them George because they are very curious to see what I'm doing. Not only that, I gave each of them a gun to ensure I don't stand a chance if even one person finds me. And to top it off, I'll be playing a fresh copy of Hitman. No broken items, default spawns only, and no shortcuts unlocked. How is it possible to beat Hitman 3 without anyone knowing a crime took place under these conditions? Join me to find out. Our first mission takes place in Dubai, and I have two targets named Carl Ingram and Marcus Stuyvesant. After spawning in and doing the mandatory crawling section, I enter the building and my #1 goal is to get a disguise, which is much easier said than done. If I ever knock somebody out, everyone nearby will hear and someone will come to investigate. So the only people I can knock out have to be completely alone and right next to a storage container. And even then, it can be extremely dicey. In order to get to my first disguise, I jumped into a room with only one woman in it. She heard me and turned around, but since I stopped moving, she eventually turned back to do whatever she's doing back there. When she does, I'm able to make a break for the elevator shaft. She does turn to look, but the distance was so short I was able to make it before she finished turning around. This allowed me to climb up the elevator shaft and make my way to a wine cellar with only one employee inside. This is one of the only isolated characters on the map, so by grabbing a fire extinguisher on the wall, I can chuck it at him before very quickly dragging his body to the nearby closet. Just as I finish hiding the body, a woman from outside walks in to investigate, but she still doesn't see a thing. With this disguise, I could enter the laundromat without the person inside getting alerted. By then knocking out this worker and hiding their body, I can get to the guard outfit sitting right next to him, and finally have something that lets me get close to my first target. With this disguise combined with some paperwork I stole downstairs, I can act as the personal guard to my target Marcus Stuyvesant, who lucky for me is gonna be the easiest kill of this playthrough. After following him around for a while, he'll have me throw some knives to prove myself worthy of being his guard, and once I do that, he'll dismiss his other guard before casually standing at the very ledge of the skyscraper with no safety rails, allowing me to push him to his death without any trouble. Now for Carl, who resides in the top of the building. The only way I can safely get near him is with a top-level disguise, which was incredibly annoying to acquire. But before we get to that, a quick word from today's sponsor. The Asgard Divide, brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends. Let's do a reaction to this real quick. Dang. Oh, okay, I like the little smoke there. Okay.
Please, let's not resort to violence. Very well, so violence it is.
Oh, they're going at it.
The Asgard Divide is running from August 21st to November 22nd, and players can collect 4 champions from Norse mythology: Loki the Deceiver, Thor Feyhammer, Odin Feyfather, and Freyja Fatefever.
My favorite is definitely Loki.
Everyone can get the legendary champion Loki the Deceiver for free by simply logging into Raid for 7 days between now and October 23rd. You can earn even more by logging in an additional 7 days after the first period, and you can unlock the other 3 Norse mythology themed champions via in-game activities. In the Asgard Divide, players can also enter the Event Dungeon, a time-limited dungeon that sees you facing off against enemies and a boss. So don't miss out. On sign up, you will immediately get huge starter pack with an epic champion, Tagoar.
You can also get the epic Knight Errant after reaching level 15.
So don't miss out. Download Raid now using the link in the description. Join my clan and let's conquer Asgard the Divide together. Now, back to the video.
The only top-level guard who is isolated enough for me to get close is this guy. Thing is, there's a repairman in the room over, so if I knock either of them out, it'll alert the second person and I'll eventually get caught. Luckily, there's one mechanic I can still exploit to my advantage. When guards find guns lying on the ground, they leave to put them away. By luring the guard over to my position, I can make him discover a gun, and while he goes to put that away, I can quickly knock out and hide the mechanic's body with just enough time to avoid getting caught. I can then bait the other guard over by making some noise and take his disguise without alerting anyone. Finally, allowing me to get close to Carl. Now that I'm on the upper floors, I can use the rat poison I found in the wine cellar earlier and put it in Carl's drink while the bartender is distracted. While he goes to puke, I can drown him in the toilet, which the game actually considers an accident kill. I guess the guards thought he was clumsy and tripped, but I'll take it. With that, I can then parachute off the side of the building, having completed the first mission, with much more difficult challenges to come. I landed outside my next mission in Dartmoor, where I have to kill a woman named Alexa Carlisle and steal a file that resides in a safe at the top of the manor. Instantly, I ran into a huge problem. I could not traverse anywhere past the outside of the mansion without getting spotted, and no matter where I went, I couldn't climb up any of the pipes that are normally easily accessible thanks to everyone turning to stare the second I make a step. But once again, there was a part of these AI I could still abuse. In Hitman, normal people have different AI than guards. When normal people hear danger, they run and hide, while guards charge towards the danger to put it down. Because of the mod I have that gives everyone guns, everyone in the level is now a guard AI. So by shooting a few times at some people in the distance, I can get everyone outside the mansion to charge towards me in an instant. And as they run past, I can sneak into a different part of the mansion that wasn't previously accessible. This lets me get close enough to a pipe that I can climb up. Luckily, the NPCs can only hear me when I'm walking, not climbing. As a result, I can climb all the way up the outside of the house and make my way to the top floor. By slowly inching my way to the right of the chair in front of me, I can get to a spot where I can aim my pistol without anyone seeing me. When my target walks upstairs, I can shoot the chandelier above her before hopping out the window, securing me an accidental elimination. I then slide down the pipe and back down to the second floor. Here, I can carefully time my movements to avoid being spotted. The time it takes people to turn around once again saved me here, because I was able to dart through hallways with people in them while just barely dodging the guards noticing me. This gave me access to another pipe that took me right outside the safe. By very slowly moving from cover to cover, I was able to open it and take the paperwork inside before exiting the way I came. However, to get past the initial guards, I once again had to shoot towards them to get them out of the way. This gave me free access to the motorcycle parked at the level's entrance, securing me my second mission. That took me to my third level in Berlin, and this one was interesting. You see, in this mission, the player is being hunted by 10 targets in a shady nightclub, and after killing 5, you beat the mission. The thing is, the first time you play this mission, there's a sort of tutorial target you kill in the woods outside the mission, which is great because it means I get one less target to worry about. However, I don't have any starting items, and because of the hearing radius of everyone, that led people to come check out what they heard when I killed the tutorial person, which forced me to knock them out and hide them in a bush, and so on and so forth for a very, very long time. Eventually, there were around 20 to 30 people all knocked out in the bushes before one of the characters glitched and didn't care about what they heard, allowing me to finally start the level. While it was definitely tedious, this did come with the benefit of getting me a free guard disguise, which made things easier down the line. For example, I could now freely walk into the club without any trouble, and there were notably fewer people than usual. For example, one of my targets is usually standing near people in the party area near a ledge, but since the people near him happen to be sleeping outside, I could just kick him into the sewers without anyone realizing what I did and giving me a second free kill. Thanks to my current disguise, nobody in this party other than the guy I just killed finds me suspicious, allowing me to freely go to the entrance of the biker hideout in the back where my other targets reside. Here, I can climb this pipe to get to the very top of the hideout. I can run over to another target of mine and use a gun I got from one of the people I knocked out earlier to drop this thing on a target's head. This gun wasn't silenced, but it still counts as an accident kill. The main downside of that noise is just how many guards are going to be swarming the area soon. But I'm already out of there, so it's not a big deal. That shooting actually alerted one of my targets all the way on the other side of the roof, and as I walk over, he's walking up the stairs all by himself. So I didn't hesitate to take my chance at another kill, securing me my fourth target. That left only one, and if you've been watching the channel for a while, you probably know who I'm talking about. This guy on a nearby rooftop is always an easy target, so by shooting a propane flask as he walks by, it's considered an accident kill, and I can finish the mission without too much trouble. Things would certainly get dicier for my next mission in China, as I have 2 targets guards, Imogen Royce and a man named Hush. On top of that, first playthroughs have an additional required element that requires the player to hack a computer located in the very bottom of the map in a secret laboratory once both targets are dead. Royce, like usual, was super easy. By shooting all 5 drones that fly above her building, she'll walk up to a rooftop I can easily access. Here, she smokes next to a gas canister I shot to make it leaky and blows herself up. As for Hush, he was a bit of trouble. I had no way to access the building he was in without being spotted, and the closest I could get was the outside of the balcony. Lucky for me, there's a propane flask sitting right here, so I had to wait for a very long time, but eventually he walks into a room just ahead of his bodyguard, giving me a window of opportunity to shoot the propane flask for an accident kill, securing me my second target. But that was the easy part of this mission. The real trouble comes from hacking the computer in the secret lab. I made a quick stop where Royce died to pick up the encryption key she dropped, which will let me unlock most of the doors in the lab, but even getting into the lab would prove troublesome. The best option for an entrance I could find was one with only one guard next to it, along with a woman getting ready for work. Even though I know the code, it's completely impossible to sneak past here without getting spotted. So, I snuck into the bathroom of a nearby building and fired a few shots at them to get them running, before quickly hopping out the window and climbing down. Luckily, the other guards nearby didn't run this way first. The direction they choose is random, so this took a few attempts, but I was now in the secret lab. From here, I could run straight to where I needed to go and immediately open the door containing the computer. My ally automatically locked me in the room as I hacked the computer, but of course, my troubles still weren't finished. Because once the computer is hacked, the whole facility is automatically put on lockdown and lights on fire. This causes every single person inside the facility to start wildly sprinting around while guards swarm the floors I'm on. Because of their increased vision, this sequence was a huge pain. Lucky for me, I was able to take a guard outfit right at the start, which ended up being crucial later on. Despite this outfit, the guards were still suspicious of me, so I had to very slowly wait for guards to run off before I could hop from vent to vent. It took a lot of waiting, but eventually I got out. And when I did, every single person from the facility was waiting in the alley outside. I'm pretty sure if I didn't have a disguise, they all would have pulled a gun on me that instant. That being said, I was still able to complete the mission and make my way to my next and definitely most annoying mission in Mendoza. Here, I'm at a party in a winery and I have 2 targets, a man named Don Yates and a woman named Tamara Vidal. Tamara was definitely the easier of the two. She smokes everywhere she goes, which is fantastic for accidental propane kills. However, she's also constantly being followed by my friend Diana. And when I say followed, I mean Diana is a fart-sniffing distance away at all times, because any propane flask explosion will absolutely kill her too, causing me to instantly fail the mission. Thing is, there's a spot they'll stop to have a conversation while Tamara smokes. Tamara will only smoke if Diana gets close enough to the conversation. But as I mentioned, I can't let her die. What I can do instead is let Diana get close enough to start the conversation before repeatedly bumping her, causing Tamara to smoke where I want her to while keeping Diana a safe distance away, securing me the first kill of this mission. The Don, however, was much more difficult to deal with. Residing in his own secure section of the map with layered security, I couldn't get to him through any traditional means. The awareness of all of his guards simply wouldn't allow it. Instead, I ran to the very start of the map, with very few people, and once again fired at the guards in the distance to draw them away. I hopped down and took a side path to get to the entrance and avoid the path of the guards, and watched as a small army ran towards the spot of the shooting, giving me free access to the fields outside Don's home. From here, I could safely climb some convenient metal sheets to be in the backyard of the Don. I patiently waited for the guards to move on to spots they wouldn't notice me, before bolting to a pipe and climbing into his room, where I awaited the return of his wife. When she got back, I promptly knocked her out with a brick. I know it kinda looked like she saw me, but she would be orange if she did when I used my instinct, so we're all good. I placed the gun she dropped under a chandelier as bait for Don, and when he went to pick it up, I shot the chandelier to get an accident kill before hiding in the bathroom. Once everything had calmed down, I made my way outside and simply left the way I came, before driving off to my final mission aboard the train. I was very worried going into this one. The start alone looked impossible. If I ever left the room I spawned in, the doctor would instantly turn around and see me, losing me my silent assassin. But there was one final mechanic I hadn't abused yet. By letting the doctor see me just long enough for this yellow meter to mostly fill before hiding away, he'll come investigate, and when he does, I can knock him out and steal his outfit. For whatever reason, the people nearby didn't feel like investigating, which was fine by me. Then, I abused the fact that this storage room has infinite crowbars. This is to prevent players from soft-locking themselves, but I was able to use one to create a distraction, go back for another, and then knock out the only 2 remaining people in this part of the train, granting me a free guard outfit and a gun. From here on out, the mission was actually very simple. There are loads of isolated guards in very little spots in these train cars, so I essentially just kept upgrading my disguise from place to place while walking through the train. Since the rooms were all so small, it meant there was almost always a storage container right next to an isolated person, turning this into a very standard silent assassin run. Finally, I was at my target. I shot him in the ass a few times until I could finally say I completed Hitman 3 with every single character as a genius with a gun. Thank you for watching.
And remember to check out Raid Shadow Legends using the link in the description below.
Subscribe for more stuff like this in the future.